All right, great. So hello again. So we're talking multi-platforms. The first thing we need to start with when we're talking about multi-platforms, the difference that people are going to be approaching online video versus terrestrial video or cable or whatever else that we've been accustomed to watching video for past 50 years. When you're watching television, it's a passive viewing experience. You have two options. You can either watch the show that's being provided for you, or you can click a button and switch to a different show. The big difference with online video is that your audience is actually choosing to engage to watch whatever it is that you're providing to them. It's a real subtle thing when you're thinking about it from just the top down, but that choice that they're making is all the difference in the way in which your audience is viewing whatever video you're providing for them. What that means is fundamentally, you have to provide immediately what it is that they are going after. Otherwise, they'll go away, okay? That's fundamentally what we're talking about when we're dealing about multi-platforms. But it's not just about platforms. It's platform and then device, what device somebody's using. And what's that going to equal? It's going to equal happiness, and that's my daughter, and she's smiling. I like trying to throw my kids into these presentations. It's just my little personal humor. Sorry. Because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create this perfect combination where the viewer is sitting there experiencing whatever video you are providing for them in exactly the way that they want to experience it. And when you combine platform and device in different ways, you're going to get different combinations. And depending upon where your audience is, that's where it's going to be relevant. So here's the overview of what we're going to talk about. And hopefully this is what you're going to get out of this. I want you to think about, really what this comes down to, there's so many different topics and so many different ways of approaching it. There's no way I can go into detail with everything. So all I'm going to try to do is twist your mind a little bit. I'm going to give you a philosophical mind bend. By the end of this, you're hopefully going to think about your shoots strategically and differently. So while you're actually on your shoots, you'll be looking for different nuggets for different possible platforms. And then furthermore, even before your shoot begins, you're constantly thinking about how you're going to do that. Why? Well, you're going to provide crazy value for your client, which in this day and age, let's face it, that's enormous. If you can provide extra ROI for your client, and you know that it's not going to cost you that much more in terms of time and everything else, it's a win-win. And then also, I'm going to help you communicate that value. So, kind of a big chunk. Let's see if we can do it. All right. I want to start off with something, and I purposefully am choosing some videos that we didn't create in this, and I will identify them, and this is going to be one of them. And some of these videos you might have seen even, but I want to use them for particular reasons. So how many of you guys saw, about a month ago, they did this for the movie Carrie. They did this really cool experiment inside of a coffee shop. Did you see this? All right, this is wild. Huge budget. And I want to show it because it's huge budget, because the goal out of this is to learn stuff from it, and then the rest of this stuff is all going to be very low budget. Not cheap, but lower budget. Very, very reachable. So first I want to show this, use it as an example, and then we'll bounce off of it.
Small coffee.
Poppy seed bagel with butter.
$4.50 please. Oh my God!
That sucks. I'm sorry.
You just ruined all of my stuff.
Get some napkins and clean it up. It'll be fine.
Fine, there's coffee inside of my computer. You know what? Just get away from me. Just get away from me. Get out of my way! Oh my God! Just get away from me! Just get away from me!
me who can do what I can do.
Okay. So that hashtag #FlexLikeCarrie, they used that to drive the video. So what was the result of that video? 48+ million views on YouTube. They did 4 million in the first 24 hours. Okay, huge budget, obviously, huge budget. The reason why I want you to see this is because now let's take this conversation to multi-platform. You saw the hashtag #FlexLikeCarrie. That was the driver of the video project. The video itself lived on YouTube. They didn't upload it to Facebook. It didn't exist anyplace else. YouTube was the driver of the entire project. Okay, so now let's look at this. Facebook and Twitter, they both had pages and accounts. Obviously, Twitter had crazy electric energy right off of this using the hashtag. Yes, they were actually encouraging people to give user-generated videos of how they could be telekinetic, right? And they were submitting them on Twitter and stuff. It was awesome, awesome. But check this out. Look at that. 110 retweets and only 60 favorites on the original version of the feed, right? And for Facebook, when you're dealing with 48 million YouTube views, that's actually pedestrian as well. But crazy traffic elsewhere. That doesn't suggest it was a failure at all. Huge success, enormous. I guarantee you by the end of this year, you're going to see that video multiple times more because the video is going to win some sort of Webby or something for like most powerful, disruptive approach and stuff. It's all great. But what it shows you is they chose YouTube as the platform. They made YouTube the viewing experience. And then they used all these other platforms to drive it toward YouTube. And everything happened at YouTube. All the comments happened on YouTube toward the video directly, and then everything supported it. The reason I want you to see this is because it is a tactic, it is a strategy, and each platform has its strengths and its weaknesses. YouTube, for example. Great, it's awesome. Everyone talks about it. Second largest search engine out there, owned by Google, creates all sorts of authority. That's awesome. And it's huge. You can see what it did in this case. But not in all cases is it going to work. You take an embed code from YouTube, you put it on a landing page of some form, that embed code does not give authority to the landing page. It gives authority back to the YouTube channel, which you might own. It might be great. But then what if you want a call to action on that page? You don't have the flexibility. Your landing page is not becoming the authority. The YouTube channel becomes the authority. So not all platforms are fit for all projects. For this project, yeah, I think we can say that this worked pretty darn well. You get my point. And that's the transition I want to take into platforms at large. So we talked about YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. These are platforms. Give me some others. Platform. Brightcove, platform. Yeah, Brightcove is a platform, and it's a different type of platform. It is a platform, though, you're right. Yep. Television? Absolutely. In fact, it's right here. I just put a bunch of lists. TV is on the bottom. I put offline and online. Because while we're talking about online video and streaming media in this, I think it's foolish for us to not consider the advantages of what we do and how there's crossover. There's no reason why you can't say, sure, I'll do a TV ad for you, no problem, and we'll also stream it on da-da-da-da-da-da, but let's think through these platforms and make sure that it works for these platforms before we do it and create that extra value. Never thinking just one platform anymore, not in this day and age. There are too many outlets and there's too many options, and the point that I want to emphasize is your audience, the audience for the videos, they might be in multi-platforms. So you might not be able to reach the audience in the best way unless you're using this. Or better yet, maybe the audience, maybe the platform itself is a better conduit for the video. So there's no way I can go through all these different platforms. I'm going to try to leave a little time at the end so you can shoot me some questions. Of course, after this is all done, we could talk forever. It doesn't make any difference. I love talking about this stuff. But this just is a list of some, and there are tons. I mean, just before I go with YouTube alone has 3 different approaches in a sense when you're thinking about it. I mean, there's a standalone video like you saw with the #FlexLikeCarrie, and then there's an ad, which will come on the side, and then there are pre-rolls, and then there's different length pre-rolls. Again, it's all based upon what it is that you want, what your audience needs. So for the purpose of this conversation, I think it makes some sense to talk a little bit about Facebook now, because Facebook is the second largest platform for online viewing behind YouTube. I like this video. It was an app that was created, and I'll just get it running while I'm talking. It was an app that was created that actually mines Facebook. So you download the app, and it mines your Facebook page and pulls nuggets off of your Facebook page with the end goal of creating a video about you. And the reason why I think that this particular video is important to this conversation is because it tells you everything you need to know about Facebook as a platform. Facebook is about interactivity, right? That's how people view things on Facebook. Short, not long attention spans at all. And it's me. It's all about me and my connections and my needs and my friends and my world. So you basically, if you have a video that has a component with the ability to do that, it'll be enormous. This was a wonderful application of the Facebook platform because it took everybody, the me-ness of Facebook, it gave them a clear deliverable at the end of it, and it was a branded experience. Great use of Facebook in a combination with an app. And all this does is just basically just walks you through, virtually speaking, what the app does. So, to go through Facebook, more personalized, it encourages interaction. And this is something kind of interesting. If you're uploading videos to the Facebook platform and you're not using YouTube as the driver or some other video platform as the driver and you're actually using Facebook, the videos themselves are actually inside on the Facebook brand page, and they appear as part of the gallery. So you don't ever have to leave that brand experience if you're doing a business video or a corporate video of some form. You never have to leave that branded experience to view the videos. Important for certain brands and for certain types of video projects. The other point is that they are shorter. These are shorter. Before I leave Facebook alone, this is kind of interesting, and a lot of the content that I put together for this, I waited till last minute because I wanted it to be really topical. This I actually took a snapshot yesterday. This was on my iPad, and it was in my news feed, and it was a video, and I have not friended or fan-liked Fox, which was delivering this. But this is something that Facebook started several months ago. And there are actually new iterations of it where there's actually a discussion about whether or not the videos can autoplay now within your news feed. This video, though, it's interesting, it's successful. This is not random. They basically look at your interests and things you like, and those videos will actually go inside of your news feed. It's another way to look at Facebook. It's another option for integration of whatever your story that you're trying to tell. And this was successful. I mean, look at it, 82,000 likes. 4,000, a little over 4,000 comments. I mean, compare that back to the video with 48, the Kerry video with 48 million views. Blows it away, right? Because it was created in the Facebook environment. And they've shown that if you're using Facebook and you want Facebook integration, all the studies have shown to put the video in Facebook, so have the video live there, if you want Facebook to be the driver. So let's take that and transition to devices. And the reason it's a good transition is because that whole concept was rolled out on mobile. You will not see those video ads on Facebook on your laptop because that's not what Facebook is allowed for. And my point being that you can't just look at a platform in and of itself. It's the combination of the platform with whatever device you're using. Because not only, realistically speaking, are you probably encouraged to look at the person in your mind, how they're going to be viewing whatever it is. But furthermore, the devices have different strengths and weaknesses and whatnot. And so, for Facebook anyway, they've decided to unroll those video ads only in the news feeds, only on mobile devices. Interesting. Let's start off then with the tablet. What's the strengths of a tablet? So this is off of the Uyala Global Video Index. It was a Q2 report, came out, so just pretty recently. And some of the stuff on the bottom part, the interactive screen and the headphones, that's stuff that's not in the report. That's stuff that I'm adding to it to give you a little more context for when you're visualizing how the person is actually viewing these videos. That's how they're viewing it. Let's face it, on a mobile device or on an iPad or on a Galaxy tablet, the audio is not so great. More than likely, they're probably got some headphones on. So when you're thinking about them in that environment, that's going to help you as you're trying to reach them. The top part, though, I do think is also interesting. So the preference on the tablet is for live video and long-form video. And so what they're finding in this study was that there's a good opportunity for mid-roll. And the whole idea of pre-roll and mid-roll, I think it's a neat little symbiotic sort of relationship that advertisers, online advertisers, have with viewers. It's kind of like a deal that they worked out. So you've chosen to click on this, like from the beginning of this conversation. It's an interaction. I want to watch it. Give me the money. Show me what it is that I want to see. But first, okay, fine. I'll watch this ad you flash in front of my eyes. I get it. That's the deal. And then halfway through, all right, it's been a little bit longer. Flash me through another ad. That's what we're finding more with a device. So again, when you're trying to think of, if you're creating videos for these different platforms and devices, these are your options. For a tablet, think that pre-roll and mid-roll on long form. It's effective. It's got a really, really high engagement because people are already committed to the content. Same thing with mobile. Live and long form is also very popular. Not quite as popular, well, from the long form anyway, not quite as popular as with a tablet. But this is the fastest growing area because everybody's got one on them. And what's interesting too is that there are specific times of the day that people tend to watch videos on their smartphones. It's fascinating. It's literally trackable. And it's also particular times of the day that they're watching certain types of videos. And it's also interesting where there's a direct tie-in between geography and what they're watching. So again, while you're visualizing who your audience is and what they're doing at the time, they might be watching whatever video that you're trying to provide for your client utilizing this platform. These are really helpful things to understand. Put yourself in their seat and think, all right, what would I need under those circumstances? We'll switch over to a desktop PC. This I thought was fascinating. The desktop PC blew everything away, and it's basically the only place where short form is common right now. And the way that they defined it, short form is 6 minutes or less. Personally, I like saying 3 minutes or less for short form, sometimes even 4 minutes or less. But they define short form as 6 minutes or less. So the reason I only have this here is because if you're creating short form content, assume that more than likely, unless it's a pre-roll or something else, they are watching it on a desktop. That's probably a good assumption to make. And finally, connected TV. First, it has the longest engagement. So makes sense, right? You're comfortable, you're sitting on your couch, you are fully engaged. And by engagement, just to clarify, it means the watching to completion. Okay, the watching to completion of connected TVs blows everything away. Almost everybody starts something, they finish it. So that's also good to come into play with this. But the other part that I think is interesting, it's the most evolving. There really hasn't been anything that's standardized in this world, whether or not you're talking about Apple TV or Roku or whatever other devices that you're using through like a set-top box. It's still acting like a television. It's not interactive yet. I guarantee you, 5 years from now, possibly even 2 or 3, this is going to be the area where the actual platform evolves the most. And you'll see tremendous amounts of bursts in this area because once everything comes together and your television and your computer is in fact the one unit, this is going to be the area you're going to see the most change. So this is another video. We did not create it, but I think it's freaking brilliant. And I've been talking a lot of the time. You know the video? It's just great. I love talking about audience. The whole time I've been talking about imagining whoever it is that you're talking to because you have to picture what they're doing at that particular moment. So why not share a video to help you put that into perspective?
It's just, there's all this pressure, you know? And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me and I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head, and it's relentless. And I don't know if it's gonna stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever gonna stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there...
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing...
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
No, see, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See,
out.
you're not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just... Sometimes it's like there's this achy... I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
That sounds really hard.
It is. Thank you.
Ow!
Come on, if you would just
Don't!
Try to see things my way.
And really the purpose is, whatever message you want to get across, remember to think about how the audience is viewing it. That's how it's relevant to this conversation. Because the audience is always relevant to a conversation about marketing. But in this case, really put yourself in the position of, okay, if they're on an iPad, where are they? Are they on a bus? Are they on a train? Are they coming home? Are they not even streaming it? Have they downloaded it already and are they watching it then? Where are they? You know, really visualize it and then that will help you get to them. So with this, I think it's time to take some action. Yes, that's my son. He's super tough. He's 6. And he definitely takes action. So let's come up with some ways of applying this. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I did this on purpose, none of the stuff that we're going to talk about here is very highbrow. None of it's complicated. It's all literally, any one of you guys could go back to your office right now, take content that you're currently providing for your client, and rethink it. And literally extract something from what you already have. So let's start off with this. Guess the platform. What's the platform on this? Nope. Instagram? Yes. It is. It's Instagram. It's a GIF file and it's Instagram. And you can also use the same GIF files in emails. They're quick, they're punchy, and they're memorable and easily shareable. So I'm showing this to you. This is not something that's branded, but let's talk about how to make it branded. How do you take a concept like that, right? And how do you find some nugget on a shoot or even ahead of time plan something out that you could capture that basically is going to loop itself every 5 seconds, 6 seconds, but will make a statement about a brand or help you position yourself as a marketer or help your client position themselves. You know, we can do this with other things that we're looking at here. I'll go to another example. I won't even have you answer it because I just want you to keep on rolling mentally with this concept. What's the platform? You'll say it at the end.
Weight limit exceeded. 1 person at a time, please.
Oh, that's f***ed up.
So she steps on a scale, and the scale tells her basically that she's overweight, okay? So it's funny, it's jokey, it's stuff like that. But again, all it is it's a punchy, quick little conversation, and yes, it's a Vine video. And yes, you can take those punchy, quick conversations that you find in any sort of environment and make it a branded experience. And I'm only pulling these things because we could imagine if we had this, we could turn it into anything. It could be a weight loss product. It could be, you know, the other one could be like a harness system if you're a mountaineer. It could be like a theoretical concept for an insurance company. It could be anything. And that's the point. Always be looking for ways of integrating it and then use the platform. These wouldn't work on a website. They'd be silly. They don't work on a website. They would work on Vine. They work on Tumblr. Here's one that we did. Simple. What does this mean? What, huh? What are you talking? Well, we had a helicopter on a shoot, and we were shooting a bunch of different things, including people on skateboards and kids playing in playgrounds. And what we realized is that we wanted to show off a little bit what we were doing and brag about the client. And so we wanted to put something out into social media. We wanted it to be short and punchy. And so we were like, okay, how can we do this without basically giving up the story too much? So this was one video among about 5 that we produced, and that we just handed it over to our social media team. And over the next week, they're going to be pushing each one of these videos out one by one. They'll hashtag the heck out of it. It'll all be linking back to the client, so the client's audience is also going to be interested and engaged, and they're going to be excited. So it's going to help the client out because the client now is going to, like, there's going to be like a little bit of tension building up before we actually finish off the entire project. You know what I mean? And here you go. You're using multi-platforms to push a larger cause. Here's another one we did. We started this. I thought it was kind of a fun little marketing concept. And the whole concept was, look at what we put a camera on. And what we did was we just decided to play with GoPros. And we mounted a GoPro on a bunch of different things with the idea of trying to get buzz around video, really. Okay? So I'll play one, and then I'll show you how we took the same concept and just tweaked it slightly. And you'll see how, based upon the length and the way we did it and the call to action, different platforms could come into play. And we could use it on different platforms more effectively. The first one is just the 30-second version.
Give people something worth looking at, they'll watch.
if you hang around, nothing happens. So do something, show something, and your audience will pay attention. After all, you're watching. So at the end of it, comment below, right? Perfectly fine for YouTube if you wanted to do it. We did actually use this one as a paid ad on YouTube. Got a lot of traction in a very short period of time off of that paid ad, right? Then we flipped it around. We did the same concept, but we changed the call to action and we shortened the video. So now it's a 15 second.
Give people something worth looking at, they'll watch.
Show something, and your audience will pay attention. You're watching. Click and tell us, okay? Now we're actually encouraging them. That was on a blog spot. So we're encouraging them to interact with us directly. So we did even another option. Now we dropped it down to 6 seconds.
Give people something worth looking at, they'll watch.
Same content, we're just repackaging it. And each time we repackage it and we do a different call to action, it actually plays better on different platforms. And it becomes very, very easy to consume. You could use that 6 second version is a simple little pre-roll. You could use it on Vine. We actually compressed it down to a Vine version. It's all, again, with what you have, what you can do, and how you can reach different audiences. And now you can actually target those audiences using these different platforms because at this point, you just put something, just because you have a video doesn't mean anything. Like back in the day when you would build a website and then, oh, if you build it, everyone comes. No longer, right? You have to actually build an audience or in this case, reach your audience. Here's another concept. We did a series of videos for a car dealership. We're becoming more and more, I wouldn't say focused, but we have a lot more experience in this area than a lot of, it's becoming a vertical of ours, simple way of putting it. And so when we were done with the project, it was great. They had all these talking heads and stuff like that. And we were like, well, what if we just took the talking heads out, used the video in case they wanted to put it on a monitor inside their showroom. Also, for Facebook, where it's shorter, this is like, I think, a 47-second video, added a little bit of punch to it. The music might help if people were listening to it, but it wasn't necessary because the message is still clear. And then at the same time, we could give this to our marketing partner, and the marketing partner in their boardroom could use it as part of a sell for the overall package. So again, think about how many different platforms we're hitting with just a recut. And if they wanted to, they could use it as a TV spot. They would ask us and we would actually put it into a different resolution for them. They would have to pay us more for that. But again, we're creating value. As a customer, they were freaking out. Could you imagine you're a customer, you think you're getting X, and all of a sudden, and how long did that take us to do really? Freaking out. Here's another one for you. How are we doing on time, Steve? We're good? All right. Give me a couple-minute warning, because I'd love to have some questions afterwards. So here's a client. They were doing, I'll ask you this question. This was a shoot in San Francisco. They were doing an event. And they were using the event as a way of showing just how cool and awesome they were. A lot of these tech companies do these ridiculous events. And they have these huge parties after, a conference. So where would be the coolest place to have a party in the entire city of San Francisco? And I guarantee you know the location, and I would be very shocked if any of you guys say it. But it was, without a doubt, the coolest location in all of San Francisco to have a party. And it's not the Golden Gate Bridge. Yes! Nice! Gosh, I got to get you something afterwards. I will. I got a flash drive for you. I will give it to you. That's awesome. Yes, Alcatraz. So that's what we did. We did a documentary-style video about the event, and with the goal of 3 different points. We wanted to show they really wanted the history of Alcatraz to be a part of it. They really wanted that badly. They also wanted to show an experience of the event itself, give people a sense of them actually being there. And then the final part was, through this combination, they wanted this feeling of like, wow, what a cool freaking company to do all this. I'm not going to play the whole video. We don't have time. Glad to share it with you. I'll play just a little bit as it starts setting up. But then I'll show you what we actually are discussing with them now that it's done.
I'm so excited. I've always wanted to come to Alcatraz since I was a little girl.
Thank you. I mean, it's almost like a bucket list type of thing, right?
I've lived in the Bay Area for 25 years.
Sure, I'll take a start.
So I can take party by add knowledge to get me out to Alcatraz.
So, for the sake of time, and I do love this video.
Couldn't pick a better day. I think God just gave us a fantastic day to be able to say, let's have the sun shine down on AdTech's premier event.
After this was done, what did we do? What do we do with it? So we have shots of the island. We have shots. What can we do with it? Give me ideas. We've gone through a lot of stuff right now. What can we do with it? What can we do? So all they've done right now with that video is that they've pitched it out. Hey, look at this great event we had. Let's engage with you. You know, I'm sorry you missed it. Or, hey, thanks for coming. Here's like a little retrospective on the event so you don't forget about us. New clients. This is the sort of stuff we do for our people, and this is the way we roll. So it's all great. They've already gotten crazy value out of it. They don't want any more value. I shouldn't say that. They don't need any more value out of it. But what could they do?
YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook.
How?
Just let people share it, and that way they can remember their experience. It's pretty neat.
Yes, but let's go with a different audience. What if we recut it, we made it Alcatraz focused, and then we shared it with the Park Service? It's a whole new platform, a whole new audience, and we changed the focus of it slightly. It wouldn't take a lot with the way we built the video. It wouldn't take a lot at all to do that. Or we're on the island, right? And we purposefully went around and we interviewed some of their executives and we interviewed some of their guests who were also clients about them. Couldn't we rope that in and actually make that part of the experience and actually use that one time frame that we were there where they were paying for our camera crews to be there? Couldn't we give them a whole lot more content that's focused toward other aspects of their goals, of their end result? And we did. We thought about it ahead of time, and we actually set it up, and we're producing more videos for them. They knew about this other part. I'm having a conversation with them on Thursday. The goal with that part is to re-engage with Alcatraz and get more life out of it and get a larger exposure. It's about creating that value, right? So value for them, value for the Park Service. It's huge. Park Service doesn't have any video like this. Right? They have some staid, like, come to Alcatraz, look at our park rangers. You know what I mean? Like, they have that sort of thing. Here's another one we did. This video was set up, the design of this video was it was an automotive software company, so for car dealerships, basically creating customer management systems. And so they didn't have any idea of any way to visualize it. So what we did was we created this little guy, we called him Dealer Guy, with the idea of the audience connecting with Dealer Guy. And the goal of this video was just they wanted something at a trade show. Very unstreaming media, right? But I'll just show you a little bit of it so you can get a feel for what I'm talking about. There's Dealer Guy, right? And this is what on their trade show floor, and it just loops over and over again, right? But it served already a couple purposes. What they ended up doing with it was they ended up using it as a training video internally. That's a different platform. Now everybody internally understands what their corporate brand is. They didn't even know their own story, so they used it internally. So now on top of that, you cut it down and you can use it on the web. We can take the same video, chop it up a little bit. Doesn't take a lot of work. Chop it up slightly. It's on the web. It's a way of engaging. You could put, what we did was went through each one of their services and we did it separately. So what if we just cut out just each service? And each service then becomes its own standalone thumbnail. And now on their website, they have a 20-second video on each one of their services. More content, more SEO driving, easier engagement, easy to understand, and you have video supporting it, right? It's just the way of thinking about what you're providing for your client in more than one way. And I'll just end with, I should have ended with this, sure. So you can't just think about one platform. You got to think multiple platforms. Show your customers the value, and you're giving them more for less. You can still charge a good amount of money for all this. I'm not saying rook yourself out of the process. Charge, but provide value so that in the end, when your customer is writing the 5-6-figure check to you, they're like, wow, I thought I was getting this, and I got this. That was worth it. The way you talk to them about it is, we've just given you all these new options to engage with your audience in places that you never believed that you ever would touch with them. We thought it through for you. We got your back. And then the final part is, depending upon where those audiences are, you're uniquely creating experiences for them. So the audience themselves are going to remember that interaction far better because it's a unique experience for the platform, for the device. That's all I got. Questions, thoughts, or are we out of time? Yeah. If you guys have any questions or thoughts, I'm happy to answer. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's a win-win. I mean, in the end, they're getting more for their money and thinking long-term the benefits, and it's also helping you.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. A lot of the time, and it was in one of the slides that we saw earlier today at the lunch, where it was the idea of being like a partner versus a vendor. It's such a common term in this business. So what I'd rather do is I'd rather show them that I'm your partner versus just say it. Like anybody could say that. You come to somebody and you say, you know what, I'm going to help you do X, Y, and Z, and then you do it and you provide something for them that they never thought about, and it helps them, you are indeed their partner, right? You're proving it to them. You're going out of your way to help, and you're endearing yourself to them. I believe in that. I mean, look, it's all the trite sort of obvious things that this is a relationship industry, but really what business relationship is not relationship driven. But if you act as if it's a relationship versus just it's one-sided and this is just a business deal and we're done, I guarantee you, I mean, clients go crazy when you start providing those extra bits. They really do. I mean, it's shocking, the reaction you get. I mean, I've had people go, wait a minute, you're giving me what? How much extra? In some cases I will charge a little bit more. I will actually say, you know what I mean? Fine, we'll do another like $250 per video. Or depending upon what the project is, it might be more because it might be more involved. But you give them the option for more, but when you look at the totality of what this all costs, it's not that much. So it helps you, it helps them. In other cases, you throw it in for free. It really depends. But it becomes an addition to your business model.
So at what point do you introduce this?
I introduce the concept early on. I tell them early on, I say, we're going to be doing things on shoot days that you're not going to have any understanding of. Or early on, they might say, hey, like with the Alcatraz video, they might say, hey, we want this Alcatraz, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, while we're there, why don't we just shoot some other stuff? They're like, really? Like what? And I was like, well, if you could communicate something to your client, to your clients, what would it be? Well, we've got these, they call them channel videos. What Ad Knowledge is, it's a video platform. Basically, it's a video platform that is completely its own world outside of Google. And what they do is they leverage a lot of different social media, Twitter, Facebook, and they have different, they're basically publishers. It's a very interesting model that they've created, very effective, frankly. And they have 3 channels that they wanted to push. They wanted to push their email channel, they wanted to push their social channel, and they wanted to push their apps channel. So I was like, okay, Give me your apps manager, give me your email channel manager, and give me your social channel manager. And you got this party, all your clients are here, right? Yeah, give me a couple clients from each one of those. And just bang, 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 real fast. You know, we're shooting off of a DSLR, so we didn't need a lot of crazy lighting because they're so forgiving with light, you know? And it looked good. Yeah, and then afterwards, then you come to them in the post-conversation. Oftentimes, you even tell them you got more. Sometimes, what I'll do is I have a situation like this right now where I told them that we were gonna overshoot, and we were gonna ask more questions, and that invariably there are gonna be things coming out of a shoot that we never would have thought of. And I'll come back and I was like, okay, so here are the rough cuts. And in addition to these rough cuts, we also found potential videos on these other 10 topics. I mean, usually it's at least 5, somewhere in the shoot that we think, because we understand their brand so well at that point that we understand what their audience is interested in. And so we just did that. We just basically, let's see, we did one where we proposed 10 other videos, and they ended up saying, yeah, we'll do 6. And then we did another one where they, you know, we just came up with another 6 videos, and we're waiting to hear back. We just shot something else just now where there was another 7 videos, and I'm waiting to hear back. And in some of these cases, you know, it might be, it really depends upon how complex the video process is. If it's pretty easy, we can do it for literally $250 an extra video. And it might as well be free to these brands when they're dealing with it. I mean, that's basically the way in which we've kind of positioned our company, is that we really are, when we first started off, we were looking at ourselves, okay, is it video marketing, is it video production? Well, we're more of a video agency because we're also doing video strategy, and that's really where we're at right now. I mean, the goal is to constantly be trying to figure out how to best get the most amount of bang for the buck. And at the same vein, again, I'm not saying charge nothing. Charge good prices, but then just over-deliver like crazy. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks. Thanks.